Well, great to see you.
Thanks, Greg.
And what a very inspirational, moving, touching film.
Well, I think this story reminds us what a powerful and important narrative this is, believer or non-believer. And the big hook was really the angle of seeing the story of Christ unfold. We deal with the crucifixion, the resurrection, and ascension, and there are few, if any, films who have taken so much on and delivered it. But the idea of seeing that narrative play out through the eyes of a non-believer, I think allows those in the audience who believe and do not believe to be settled and enjoy the narrative. And for me, that was the reason that I really wanted to be a part of it.
Because here's your guy. I mean, he's Pontius Pilate's right hand. I mean, he's the next guy, the main guy in control. And the one, out of anybody who you would have thought, who would have never, believed or gotten involved, winds up seeing some things that just really opened up his eyes and his mind.
That's right. He's a deeply conditioned sort of lethal killing machine. He's part of the death squad that crucifies Christ. And as we go on this journey, we almost see this sort of deconditioning as he hits wall after wall after wall. He's this brilliant, surgical, analytical, intelligent, spiritual to a degree guy. He's the man for the job, but he's flummoxed at every which way he turns. And he's sort of not getting any joy out of the investigation, his conditioning is challenged, and then ultimately challenged at a moment where he walks into an upper room and he has an irrevocable occurrence and his world is turned upside down.
And I dare say when that particular scene happened, like you said, I think all of us in the audience kind of like jumped into your character's body in the film, because just even with the way he felt, and you could tell the way he was reacting, we were doing the same thing, because you're like just going, wow, this is, this whole unbelievable
I think
thing.
that's a great point, that sense of the audience being allowed to position themselves through that point of view. And as a believer, you would never want to, but it's interesting that if you take that angle, it becomes very arresting, the story, and we get to visit it again and relish it again through those eyes.
I can only imagine there are people who played it, years, for years, but they've all talked about just what an experience it is knowing that that's who you're playing.
Wow, it was a miracle. I mean, really, to be in that position and to have that opportunity in my lifetime.
Right.
I think how,
right.
it's because when I became Jesus was my first superhero. Firstly,
right.
I didn't read comic books. I read the Bible, and Jesus was for me a superhero. He was like this amazing, and then when I became an actor, people would say, "What do you want to do?" And I'd always say, "Well, I want to play Jesus." And it was a joke. I never thought it would actually happen. It was like, "Yeah, I want to play Jesus," but I don't have blue eyes, so that's never going to happen.
Right.
But then I think that faced with the prospect, the reality of actually having it was one of the most beautiful experiences I've had in my career. Yeah.
And it's funny, just when you mentioned the blue eye part, the reality is you probably look more of what Jesus would look like.
Historically, factually, they say that's
Correct.
The case. Yeah.
Correct. And like you said, again, you think about different things that are going on today in our world and everything. You see something like this, and it's kind of like so many things that are going on make you not want to believe in anything or whatever. But then you see this movie, and it's kind of like, you know what? It just makes you feel good. It also makes you feel hope.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I mean, that's the hope of our movie, and that's what I focused on throughout the shoot. Was I took a vow of silence. I prepared for a month. I didn't, and then throughout the shoot, I did as much as I could in silence, and it was really in reverence to being in a state of love, because I think if there's one thing we need more of in the world, I know it's not very fashionable to not be cynical, but I think it's true. I think we need more love. I think we need to have more compassion for ourselves and for others, and I think we need to understand there's more to life than getting more for ourselves.
Absolutely.
And to be of service to others, and I think that's essentially at the heart of the story. How can we help each other?
Right.
Rather than how do we get more from each other for ourselves. I think that's really, really the message that I took from my experience of the film.